Hello everyone. My name is Jenn and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to the start of a vlog series, I think, which I kind of debated doing because I don't film too many vlogs just because it's a lot of content on top of already a pretty full schedule that I have. And I'm not sure if I will put these vlogs out before the end of the year or after the end of the year, because maybe you can tell from the title, but these vlogs are going to be about rereading my favorites. This is something that I started last year. The rereading my favorites started last year, because I wanted a way to narrow down my top books, right? As many of you know, if you have been here for any length of time, I read pretty massive amount of books, and that's not arrogant, as I was recently called by someone. It's just how it works out when you have nothing else really going on but Booktube in your life. It is surprising, even to me, how much my reading has accelerated, how much faster I read now, but also how I prioritize reading. So anyway, you guys don't need a big story with this. But basically, I created 6-star reads last year. Well, at the very end of 2019, or no, was it midway through 2020? I don't even remember. I decided to do 6-star books. Oh yes, I decided to do 6-star books because of the fact that narrowing down my top books was really difficult because I wasn't doing it ahead of time. So this time around, I had 6-star books going from the beginning of the year. So I have a list that I made, and I believe there is 34 or so on here. And now, we aren't completely through the end of the year. I mean, it's only November 9th, but I need to kind of get started with some of these. So this is kind of a secret that I'm starting, but also not, because people who follow me will see that I'm starting to reread these, but they don't know that I'm going to be vlogging it. And yeah, so this vlogging experience, I'm not 100% sure what it will look like or how consistent I will be with it, but I just want to have the vlog started, and then when I get enough footage to, have one complete, I'll do that, get it put aside and uploaded. But I'll probably even keep it a secret from my channel members until closer to that, which isn't something that I normally do, but I just want it to kind of be this fun thing to do, that I'll probably have 2 or 3 of these vlogs because there's a lot of books on this list. But one thing that I did do that I've had some good feedback on is that I made this list kind of like public to my fans, basically, so that if anybody wanted to reread some of these or read them for the first time with me, they could, because I'm not going to be doing a buddy read in December. It's just going to be my rereads if anyone wants to. So yeah, any books that I end up giving 6 stars to in November and December, I mean, I won't really need to reread them because I will have just read them. This is mostly for specifically the books that I read in the first half of the year. And then there are a couple books that I read in the second half that I just want to reread to kind of compare them to the others. So it's so interesting to me kind of where these books fall. There's a lot of mafia in here, obviously, mixed with a healthy amount of historical. Like, there's a lot of historical, and then randomly there is a couple like fantasy books. So it's just very interesting to see where it lays on here. I've made this statement already to many people. I highly suspect that Go Tell the Bees That I'm Gone will be my favorite book of the year, just because Diana Gabaldon's writing kind of boosts itself ahead of everything else for me. That's just how it is, so we'll see. But anyway, I kind of wanted this to just be an intro clip that I got out of the way, because I foresee myself pretty soon starting to do these rereads. So another thing that I wanted to share, which I did tell my channel members this, but I didn't tell anybody else this. So what I did is, all of those books that are turned backwards right there are all of my 6-star books, except for, I think I only don't own one of these books so far. So all of the books that I will be reading for these vlogs are right back there. And what I'm planning to do is that as I read them and put them in order, I will turn them around and put them in order, but no one's gonna know that except my channel members. So, you know, obviously the first book I read, whichever one it is, will go here and be turned around, and then you'll know that that's my current favorite. But, you know, that'll change with each one that I read. So I also created a separate book form, because I think I've shared this before. Like, I use a Google form for all of my books to track my stats. This was a form that was created by Black Lit Chicks, I believe is their name. And I used that this last year, which it was really great. It was more geared toward just books in general, not towards romance. So there was a few tweaks that I made to their book form at the time, but I also realized in using this book form for 600 plus books that it's not really tailored to my personal needs. So in 2022, I've made my own book form that I'll be able to use for that. But I also made one for tracking my 6-star reads. I've just gotten really nerdy with it. So for this 6-star read, there isn't a rating needed, because I know these books are all 6 stars. And even if they end up not still being 6 stars after the reread, like, they're still gonna say a 6-star. They just won't be my favorite one. Somebody will have to be the least best book. But this form has 5 questions that I can rank them from 1 to 10. So I think it is plot, characters, emotion, sexiness, and just like overall feeling. And I can give them a 1 through a 10. And so that will help me kind of narrow them down. So it'll be really interesting. So anyway, this is probably enough for an intro clip. This will be stuff that I have explained in other videos by this point too, but in case this is the first one you're watching, this is going to be the beginning of the vlogging journey. I don't totally know where I'm going to start yet. So that's why this is just kind of an intro clip, because I don't know where I want to start on this list. I think it's going to be really hard, because also quite a few of these books are just in the middle of series. So that'll be interesting. But anyway, there we go. That's the intro clip, and we'll see you in the future and see what we got going on. All right, finally filming another clip to this. I think it's been a little while since I filmed the opening clip. It still is only November. It is the 21st today, I believe. I'm about to go on my Thanksgiving vacation, which means I also have another vlog that I will be starting at the same time. And then I just got asked to participate in another video that would be a vlog. So the woman who hardly vlogs at all is just like dropping herself into all of these, which is exciting. But I wanted to update on a few things because I did start my rereads, but also I have another book that I ended up adding to the list, and I have already like rated that one. And again, I don't remember what I mentioned in the first one, but I made a Google form to fill out after I read each book that will help me within the realm of the 6 stars. So all these books already have 6 stars from me, where they fit within that. And I believe that I'm basing it off of the plot overall, the can't put downableness is what I eloquently named that, the romance, the characters, and then the spiciness. Those are like the 5 things I'm basing it on. So they have a score out of 50 because I will rank them 1 through 10 for that. I just want to give myself as most leeway as I can, because it's like if I only make it 1 through 5 on each of those and it's only out of 25 points, that leaves me less room to like maneuver. And that's something I ran into last year where I had, because obviously I love all these books so much, if I don't give myself enough categories and enough points for leeway, I end up having a lot of books that are all the same score. Which doesn't help me because they already have the same score. They're all 6 stars. So anyway, I'm not trying to make it more complicated for myself. I'm trying to make it easier for myself. But in doing that, I make it more complicated for myself. This is the thing. But anyway, the book I also ended up adding was Savage Hearts, which I don't have a physical copy of yet, but I will. It's actually supposed to get here tomorrow because I wanted to have physical copies of all of the books that were my favorite, because of course I would. So it's that one I don't have a copy of, and Relentless Hunter I don't, because Relentless Hunter isn't out yet. And then I just got A Lesson in Blackmail by Katie Robichaud, which I'm very excited to reread. This one's actually only novella length, but man, this was one of my first 6-star books of the year, so I'm very excited for this one. But anyway, Savage Hearts only came out last week. I read the arc for that book. I knew it was going to be a 6-star read, so all 3 books in this series are 6 stars. This one didn't have quite as big of an emotional punch for me as Carnal Urges did, and I foresee when I reread Carnal Urges that will probably get a higher score than Savage Hearts did, but Savage Hearts was really great as well. So that one, since I just read that one, I won't have to reread that book. So I went ahead and scored that book and put it into my spreadsheet. I will periodically show the spreadsheet, probably like at the end of each video I do. You know, once I have about 45 minutes of footage, we'll see how many videos that ends up being, but we'll see. So anyway, I did that. And then, if you can tell, I can't remember if I said I was going to do this, but all of the books are facing backwards. And as I read and rate them, I will turn them around. So it's kind of like a secret in the back of my regular videos for the month of December. But I did also reread Stolen Heir. So I listened to the audiobook of this at work on Friday. I needed an audiobook to listen to, and I wanted kind of a quick read. This one's only about 250 pages, and I loved this couple. I loved revisiting Nessa and Miko. And my thoughts the second time around, obviously still really loved it. This one doesn't have as big of an emotional punch as I remember it having. And, you know, part of that might be just because I know what the plot links are. I still really love all the parallels between this and, like, the Disney fairy tale, you know, just with, like, the music and even, like, Miko having fairy tales, like, tattooed onto his skin and different, like, books that he loves. I love that. I love that there's a line, and this will probably be the quote that I use. I need to find it because one of the things I want to have is to have a quote that I love the most from each book too. There's a thing where he says, like, I was a dead thing and I was a creature who was barely alive and you, like, brought me back to life. And I love that shit. That's one of my favorite things. I love that in mafia stories. I just love it so much. So I don't want this clip to be too long because I don't want every clip with just one book to be too long, but there is the first one. And then I am filming this clip, so 2 books read so far for our favorites. And then I started my reread of Thief of Shadows. I really wanted another audiobook, and I don't own this audiobook. I own some of the Maiden Lane. Some of them I borrowed from the library. And so I went to check to see if either Thief of Shadows or Dearest Rogue, which is the other 6-star book in Maiden Lane that I have, was available at my library. And this one was available. So I started this. I'm only in the 2nd chapter and I'm already just loving it. I had to write a review for another book, and so I put it on. I need to finish another arc tonight because I want to have the review already written for while I'm on vacation, but I want to be listening to this. And then it's Sunday, which means it is a Yellowstone night, so I'll be watching that. And yeah, that's what we got going so far. So just wanted to make sure I'm not forgetting about this vlog and actually updating it with that. So we will talk again soon. Well, hey, so checking in for this vlog. It's been, I think, about a week since I filmed a clip for this. I had Thanksgiving week. I was able to read Go Tell the Bees That I'm Gone, which definitely is on my favorites list of the year. But as I think I said in an earlier clip, that's the thing when these clips are filmed so far apart, it's hard to know what I've said. That book is kind of going to sit in its own little place. Like, I'm not going to rate it the same way and do like my form or whatever. Mostly because my 5 questions that I'm rating don't really apply to bees in the same way. Also because it has like 0 on the spice scale at all, which would automatically make it like at the bottom of my list, but it's not, because it is my favorite book of the year. Like, it just is. I knew going into the year that Bees was going to be my favorite book of the year, so therefore we won't hold other books to the same level of judgment that we do for Diana Gabaldon. But loved it. I did also finish some more rereads that I was doing, so I wanted to talk about those. I finished rereading, hold on, I have my list right here. I did Ruthless Creatures, which was so much fun. I can't wait to reread Carnal Urges again, which will actually be the 3rd time that I've read Carnal Urges, but I just have to. I love that book so much. Ruthless Creatures kind of dips a little when it comes to like what the overall plot is, because that book just has like a lot going on and is a little more like unfocused than some of the other ones. And then I also reread Dearest Rogue by Elizabeth Hoyt. I listened to that one on the way home yesterday and absolutely love that one. I love Captain Trevelyan. Like, he is super smexy to me. Like, I love him so much. Particularly what I love about that book so much is that he's definitely set up to be the kind of hero that's very self-sacrificing, and that is going to put his feelings, you know, below everyone else's, and he's also going to do what's best for Phoebe. However, when it finally clicks for him that he is what's best for Phoebe, and that he will give her the freedom that she can have as a blind woman, and that he will love her more than anyone else does, he doesn't do the typical 3rd act push away. Like, he almost does it. But the way that Elizabeth Hoyt structures it is that he resists for a good part of the book, right? He's older than her. He's her bodyguard. They're of different classes. So his resistance is built into the front part of the book. And I feel that a lot of authors could actually learn from this, because there are lots of books I've read where there's resist, give in, have your sexy time, you're falling in love, and then something happens and you're like, I'm not good enough for you. I need to push you away for your own good. And it's too much. Like, it's too much resistance. There's been resistance for the first half of this book. We also don't need resistance in the last 20% of the book. There is enough conflict in the story. Like, her brother's going to have problems with them being together. There's still someone trying to kidnap her and force her to marry someone. Like, there's enough conflict without Trevelyan also having conflict. So once James decides that he loves her, he really doesn't struggle with it more than that, because he knows how she feels, and he knows that he would actually be the best for her. Like, if he can get over the fact that he's older and that he has an injury, he is the best man for her. And so I absolutely adore that. So I loved rereading that one. Not as spicy as Thief of Shadows was, but still pretty good. I mean, James and Phoebe, they can get it. So anyway, those are the books that I've reread so far. I'm currently listening to Rebel Bitten. Now, I actually didn't listen to any of these books originally. I read this whole series. Like, I read the Kindle Unlimited of it. Oh, excuse me. So this is book 4 in the Blood Alliance. There are currently 5 books out. Book 6 doesn't come out until next year. I'm really irritated with that. But I'm almost done with the reread for this one, and it's going really good. I think the book that I want to reread next is, I'll probably do another audiobook. And I'm thinking that I might do Still or Real by Kennedy Ryan. But I don't want to listen to that at work again. I've listened to those books at work before, and it was extremely painful. So I do have Broken Vow that I could listen to. Or I could do like Never Seduce a Scot or Devil in Disguise. I might do another historical soon. So anyway, I'm just sitting here working on my November wrap up and then getting some of my December stuff ready. I was gonna try to film one more video today, but I filmed my Outlander like deep dive into the book and it was an hour long, so I'm kind of filmed out today. So I'm sitting here working on my notes, and then I'm actually watching rewatching season 5 of Outlander. I figured I would start it. It was announced basically just a couple days ago that season 6 is coming back on March 6th, I think. So 4 months still to go. But it'll be here before we know it, and I'm very excited. I'm a little nervous how I'll be able to handle the episodes this time around, because, well, it's going to be a short season actually. I believe there's only supposed to be 8 episodes because Katrina Balfe, who plays Claire, she actually had a baby recently, and so they had to like shorten the season. But season 7 is going to have 16 episodes. So I'm very interested to see how they do it, because they're taking on some pretty hefty plot lines. There are some intense stuff that happens in book 6, and I'm kind of worried that they're going to try to tell the entire season in 8 episodes, and I just don't know how I'll be able to do that. But anyway, when those episodes drop on Stars at 11 p.m. my time, so I can usually watch it before I go to bed. And then I used to film the videos in the morning before church. But last year, it was like, or a year and a half ago, it was quarantine when it was out. So like, I couldn't go to church. So this year we'll have to see, I may just have to like get up really early and do it and get it filmed and ready to go up. But then I always used to put up, I put up my weekly wrap-ups on Sundays, so I might have to move that around. I don't know what I'm doing yet. But anyway, I'm talking too long. That's another clip for you. I ended up crooked, sorry. We'll check in again soon when I've read some more of my favorites. Well, good morning. It is Friday, the 3rd of December, and I decided that I wanted to wrap up this first vlog. I made it through another book, so I've gotten through 7 of, I think, the 32, and over my face, I think I will put the ratings so far for them. Now, remember, I know I've said this, but let me just remind you, because you're going to see some of these have a pretty low score, so I don't want you to think that like, oh my god, she changed her mind. These are all still 6-star reads. This is just now fitting them into the arbitrary like questions that I ask myself at the end to decide them. So as you can see, there's a super clear winner so far with the highest score by a lot, and that is Still. I read this one last night. I was just feeling a little upset over a book that I'd read the day before, which you'll have seen or you'll see me talk about later, because I think I'm going to put this vlog up soon. And I just wanted to read one I know I would like, and then I was like, I didn't want to read Still or Real, honestly, when I'm at work, because I did that last time and it was horrible. Like literally I have bags under my eyes today because I cried so much last night. My eyes are puffy. I love this book so much, and I knew, like literally when I made the category of emotional punch, that there's probably 3 books out of the 30 that will have a 10 for emotional punch, and this is like the one. And so because that one gets a 10 for an emotional punch, it shoots it way up to the top of the list so far. So out of the 7 I've done so far, and I'm going from memory because I don't have the scoring right in front of me, but Still right now is at number 1. And I think that it would be Thief of what? What's it called? Thief of Shadows is probably right after it, maybe. That's what I'm thinking. But either way, Still is a clear winner. This book, you guys, I was also inspired to do my reread of this one because Mary from More to Mary is reading these for the first time, and we were chatting about it the one night, and I've went on and on about Kennedy Ryan. She is so talented at what she does. And there's just something about Still. The Grip trilogy as a whole, okay? Like, race issues are tough. And they're not something that we should shy away from. They're also not something that I constantly bring up on my channel because I want to keep my channel separate from like the political side of race. But that does not mean that acceptance and love and helping people feel welcome in society isn't important to me. I just don't like the tone that it's taken in the last few years. And I feel that Kennedy Ryan brings those things up in such a way that I feel the gut-wrenching impact of them as a white woman living in the Midwest who has had pretty little diversity in my life. Like I've said this before, it's another reason I don't talk about it is that I'm not educated enough about it. And that's something that I could change, but it's also something that I'm afraid to change because it's like once you start to step a toe into it, there's just so much, right? Anyway, I didn't mean to take it that way, but it's kind of hard not to with Kennedy Ryan's books because she has this amazing way of immersing you into those feelings without preaching at you. And that's something that I've struggled with some other books that are diverse for diversity's sake. And in the hands of Kennedy Ryan, I feel inspired to do better and to do more without being screamed at or called bad names because I don't know how to do it. And there's this one beautiful conversation that happens, and it's actually a fight that they have where it's right at the end of this book where this white supremacist is saying shit to rile Grip up and trying to make a scene in front of people, and Bristol slaps the guy and is like, if you go after my husband this way, I will bring the full force of my backing down on you. And you don't know who my family is, and you don't know the resources I have. So if you fuck with my husband, I will end you. And it makes Grip very mad because seeing his woman, who he calls his most precious possession, the most precious thing in his life, put herself in danger, it ticks him off. And there's been a lot of struggles that they've gone through just recently in the book because there's a huge trigger warning for, they have basically a stillborn daughter. They have a daughter with a severe birth defect that she only lives a little bit after her birth. And so he has seen her be so fragile, and to see her put herself in danger, to put herself between him and this horrible person, it makes him so angry, and he's felt so useless. And she finally is breaking out of that sadness shell. And she's like, don't ask me not to defend you. That's what we do for each other. And it's so beautiful, and it leads to a very emotional sex scene on the stairs where there is anal for the first time. Only Kennedy Ryan, well, not only Kennedy Ryan, but she's one of the few people that can make an anal scene one of the most emotional, beautiful things. And that's just because all the sex in this book is gut-wrenching on some level. It's amazing. So anyway, all right, well, I'm going to wrap up this vlog. The next vlog that I'm planning to do is actually going to be for the historical romance readathon, because I realized that I have, I think, 7 of my books that I need to reread are historicals, and Jess from Peace Love Books, Remarkably Lisa, and Lacey's Book Lovers, they do the historical romance readathon every once in a while, and this time they're doing kind of like a Christmas theme or whatever. And I realized that with the prompts, which I actually think I have it right here. Where is it? Well, I don't know where it is. That I can make most of my rereads fit into this. So I'm planning to vlog next week, and it'll be vlog part 2 of reading my favorites, but it will also be the historical romance rereadathon. So it'll be all the things. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this. I put up new content 3 to 4 times a week. Make sure you check that out, and make sure you are subscribed so that you catch the rest of my rereading my favorites of 2021. Have a great day. Bye.